Yes, hi there. I need to speak with an investigator. I have a crime that I absolutely need handled and reported with the county here. This is not something. This is actually something involving the police that they are themselves part of the charges. That's why I'm trying to get a hold of a district attorney in the county now.
Okay, let me get you to one of our investigators.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Sean, can I help you?
Yes, hi there. My name is William Montgomery. I'm just trying to get a hold of an investigator in the DA's office. Is this kind of the right direction?
Yes, you are.
Okay, sweet. So, do you have a second? I needed to talk to somebody.
Go right ahead.
Okay, sweet. All right. There's really no clean way to start this, so I'm just going to jump knee deep right into it. I was at Denver University a couple of nights ago. I was leaving the university as a public non-student at just after 2 a.m. It's open to the public till 2. And I was approached by security guards who, when they approached me, my experience being something like I lived in Fort Collins for a while, so there's a CSU police up there. So the first thing he asked for was, I need to see some IDs. And so the first question I asked was, are you a cop? He said, yeah, I am. From there, I asked, okay, what's your reasonable suspicion? I don't know if it's a level 1 consensual encounter yet or a level 2 where, someone's detaining me with reasonable suspicion and so forth. And so he keeps talking down it, the path of reasonable suspicion, continuing to kind of allude that he's a cop. It makes perfect sense. Security guards, I'm not used to having security guards detain ever. They only have the power to citizen's arrest, as far as I'm concerned, like King Super or something. But basically, while we were talking, we continued to graduate this encounter to a level 2. We asked him if we were being detained during this investigation. He said yes. He held us there, ran our names all by himself as a security guard before we even knew it was wasn't a security guard. He cleared us, and we were trying to talk to get to the bottom of it as fast as we could. And a couple minutes after he cleared us, we asked the questions to get to the point where we found out he wasn't a sworn police officer. And the real problem here is that, as we were explaining it, basically, they detained us for just an investigation of just bins. We were walking out with bins at this hour. Shouldn't matter because we're at a library. If you were a police officer, you could go ahead and detain us. Sure. That's why we stopped. We knew we weren't doing anything wrong, and we knew that we weren't covered under some sort of trespassing issue. We never got a formal warning. We were never banned prior. And so we know someone can't just seize us instantly for trespassing. Like the first time you see a skateboarder on your land with a no skateboarding sign, you can't just run up to them and say, you're under arrest. You have to give them that warning, let them leave. If they don't leave, then you can kind of arrest them. And so we were very clear, and we got exactly what we needed to get in terms of understanding. From them, they told us that security guards have the right and power to detain, short of a citizen's arrest. They kept claiming that it was because it was private property. And once it got to this point, we clarified everything we needed to. We were completely let go. And that's when we decided to call in the Denver police right there, because we caught them doing a false imprisonment. They don't have the same authority and so forth. And so when we called in the police, turns out they had been the police that had been working with these people forever. And they literally didn't believe us, what we were saying. They didn't have the same definitions of words. We kept going around in circles trying to get the consistency, on the same page. We did eventually get on the same enough of a page that they literally said themselves that on private property, security firms have the right to detain for reasonable suspicion, short of a citizen's arrest, so they can run names, clear them, and so forth. And so I've since reported this up to internal affairs, because I asked them to take a report that night, the 2 police officers. They didn't even say it's anything meritable. They wouldn't open up a case. They wouldn't take our witness statements. So it was essentially like a failure to report. We ended up contacting their supervisor.
Have you contacted the campus security at University of Denver?
I just did, and I was told to basically contact the police department or the which I already did, and you guys next. So you're it. So I already tried to get some sort of clarification out of them.
You know, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Remember, I'm an investigator. I know they have some authority with campus security because I know they work. Denver Police works with DU, Auraria Campus, Metro, CU Denver, and I know the fact that when you told me that he cleared you guys on NCIC, they have some type of police authority because he wouldn't be able to do that. Okay.
See, that is actually the literal exact problem that we are trying to get down to. That they are.
You know, they would put like this. They wouldn't be able to do it unless they had the authority because NCIC wouldn't recognize. They don't care whether you are. You have to go through this. You have to be certified to do this. You have to have some police authority to do it. But I'm not sure what all their regulations are. But I mean, he wouldn't be the only one. The whole campus police department would have it. So that tells me they do have some police authority. But you know, I'm not gonna. You try to BS you. I don't know what that is, you know.
Well, I've actually already, so when I talked to their supervisors the next day, I was trying to get a failure to report written or processed. From there, I was speaking with Denver Police, and I got to the bottom of all those answers, and they're very clear in that they are non-sworn officers or security guards. It's a private firm. There's no questions there. It's literally the equivalent to a King Soopers, they were telling me. Open to the public, library, just the same thing. And so that's actually literally why I'm contacting you. And then now oh boy, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to have to go up to some higher chain of the state attorney or general attorney, because the powers that they have is either sworn in police officers or not. And so citizens arrests anybody can do that for any reason. Shopkeepers kind of have a privilege to not get in trouble if they stop someone, but they still have to see him.
I mean, if you want to write a letter with all this information and send it to us, I mean, I'll give it to one of the attorneys and have them look at it. But you know, I'm not going to try to. You know, you'll know if I was BSing you. If I don't know the answer, I don't know the answer.
Well, okay. Well, let me just ask this real quick.
If you want to put in a letter and send it here, I'll make sure that an attorney looks at it and hopefully they'll call you back. If you want to do that, I can do that much for you.
Well, that's
unless you want to go to a different source, like you said.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of.
Somebody else may know the answer. I don't know the answers.
Yeah.
Did you try CBI?
Oh, actually, no, not yet. Colorado Bureau
Investigator. CBI is the agency that controls NCIC.
Okay, what's NCIC? You say?
What's that?
What's NCIC?
NCIC is the National Crime Information
Database. Oh my gosh!
This is this. Colorado is the Colorado, part of that. So.
Okay. I need to clarify. This has happened before with the previous reports. This is why it keeps getting confusing. It's not just that they run names, because anybody can run names. In a national database of warrants and so forth.
You can't get criminal history. You can't get arrest warrant information.
Yeah, he said he was running for warrants, and it's not just that. He was literally detaining us.
That would be CBI. So I would.
Well, what I'm just trying to say is a security guard at King Soopers held me for an investigation short of theft.
We're not talking about King Soopers.
Actually, that's what they said. They were the same as King Soopers. Everybody is agreeing that there is no special police powers that these private security firm civilians have. There's nothing that they have short of a citizen's arrest, and that's actually what it says on their website itself. If you go to DU and look up campus safety, they literally say that they are not sworn officers.
Okay, I'm just making suggestions here.
Sure. I'm so sorry.
I would start with CBI, and they would be able to give you something in writing to confirm whether they. And you could bring up University of Denver Police Security. Do they have access, and how and how does that work? If they do, are they authorized to do this? And do they have it? And they could probably answer your questions because they know the rules better than I do, and they know what they're required. What is required to get that, to be able to do that?
Okay, I guess it should have been really obvious. A non-sworn police officer detained me. That's a false imprisonment. That's all I'm trying to report.
Well, then I wouldn't make it known with the Denver Police Department until you want to file a report.
I actually did. Well, they're still looking into it. They're still getting their failure to report. But I already got their first supervisor telling me that a 5 to 15 minute detention short of a pat down does not constitute false imprisonment. If a security guard from King Soopers patted or held me for 5 to 15 minutes, that's a false imprisonment. I have tons of case law that is old that I just pulled up just out of curiosity one day. Before all this, Walmart employee thought that some guy had a bulge in his pocket. Never actually saw him steal anything. Detained him, brought him into the room for questioning. It wasn't a citizen's arrest, and he got let go because he showed the bulge. It was actually a bandage. And he sued for false imprisonment because they didn't actually observe him do anything, and it was a false imprisonment. It was actually a really large, ugly case. It cost $300,000 for Walmart because of the pain and suffering.
Did the police department make a report? You say you spoke to a supervisor?
They are getting the reports. They
Okay.
yeah. So it's
Well,
still.
then what happens is they make the report. If they feel it's a law violation, they'll bring it to the district attorney's office and review it with an attorney to see if the charges are applicable.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'm a little.
They do an investigation into it.
Yeah. No, I guess I'm a little confused or concerned because I guess okay. So the first internal affairs report the next day, I was reporting the whole thing to them, and he said that there is absolutely no charges or meritable for the exact original charges because he's saying the same thing. They have the power to detain on private property. And so that's what I went up to his supervisor. His supervisor literally, basically, how did it go? It was like he kept going around in circles himself, but he kind of got closer to it, and he was like, well, security guards don't have the right to run IDs and stuff like that. So eventually, yes, I did get a internal affairs official investigation going for the failure to report, but I don't know, and I've been told roughly that it's just for the failure to report and not for the original charges. And so I'm literally, and okay, so the reason why I'm actually trying to involve you at this point is because I have the entire thing on audio tape, every conversation from the security guards to the police right after, to the internal affairs afterwards, and the police officers specifically that showed up that night literally witness tampered me. I know that's kind of a weird word, but they basically conspired to let the security guards go because every time we got closer to a definition of what it is that they're not supposed to be doing, they said, no, it's this, or no, it's that, or you're mistaken. And they actually, they literally shut me up. They
Did you provide the police department your video recording?
I was attempting to.
Your audio recording, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I was attempting to that night. They didn't get to it with the evidence, and so I mentioned it to them the next day, and so they say that if they need it, they'll get it, but it's still. I kind of see what you're saying. Due process. I guess we should just let them see.
You have to let them do what they're going to do, and then see what the conclusion is before you then that's the day if they could talk to them about the investigation, if it was completed, and did they present the case to the district attorney's office or the city attorney.
Yeah. Or in this case, since there are officers themselves, can they charge their own officers with criminal allegations, or that's why I thought I had to contact you.
They probably wouldn't do that. They'll probably complete an investigative report and then and eventually, if they feel criminal charges appears to be some type of criminal violation, they'll probably even talk to the city attorney or the district attorney about it.
Okay, I have been I don't want to say this, but I've been given the runaround before of situations like this.
I'm not trying to be edgy.
Yeah, not you. I'm just saying. I'm just saying I have evidence that I just wanted to present to a district attorney to do their own investigation with, independent of these people, because I feel as though they've already broken enough laws on their own investigation that actual charges they're not going to want to file against themselves.
And I'd offer to you that if you want to send all that information here.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
To me, I will give it to an attorney who will say yay, nay, whatever. But if the police department is already doing it, that's up to you. You can do whatever you want. I would, if I was you, I would wait to see what let them finish their investigation, and you get a copy of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Include all that with your and then if you're not satisfied, then send a letter to the district attorney's office asking for us to look into it.
Okay.
It appears, what I'm telling you, it sounds like it might be an ongoing investigation, but I don't know what it entails. You're not sure what they're investigating.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Let them complete what they're doing first, and then you get once it's over with. You may be satisfied once it's over with. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. They might take the charges originally and process them and send them to you guys.
Right, until you don't know that yet. So let them finish doing what they're doing first, and then if you're not satisfied, get a copy of the report, and then when you write the district attorney, include all the information, have everything there, and include everything with it.
Okay, good. Yes, I guess what I was just concerned about was that someone, if these guys aren't following the law and they're not going to uphold themselves, then it would be you guys as the ones next to charge them.
I know they've been doing that since so I don't know.
Well, yeah. So that's actually.
They haven't been following the law. They haven't been following the law for the last 50 years. So
yes.
That's why I find it hard to believe they're not following the law.
Okay.
But, let them do what they do, and then like I said, let them finish their investigation and then see what they say.
Sure.
If you're not happy with it, then you put it in writing to the Senate, and somebody just be to look at this.
Sure, absolutely. Yes. So, okay, actually, if I can clarify, there's, I think this is the reason why I really wanted to contact you is just to at least get a sort of a paper trail started with you, with the knowledge, so that when it comes up the pike, you kind of know a little bit more about what.
It'll be a long. I keep notes on these calls. So
perfect. Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Okay, because well, if I want
to let it play out, and then see what, because you don't know what's going to happen with what they're doing.
True, but let me run this by you real quick. You are actually the first person in my brother's life that has gotten to a certain point statistically where you understand a concept that we've been trying to share with people for a very long time. And so when you said that if they've been doing this, then they've been doing it for 50 years illegally. We actually have.
Well, you said illegally. I say I find it hard that it's going to be. I find it hard to believe that it is illegal if they've been doing it that long. So I'm not saying they're doing anything illegal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We believe that what they're doing is not illegal because they've been doing it for so long.
Exactly. Okay, so that actually is what my brothers and I. We have like 30 other 42 USC claims. We've won so many little trials from Fort Collins and other jurisdictions down here in Denver of officers not using maps or going through elements or anything like that. And so that whole idea of potentially, they wouldn't be breaking the law or be doing it wrong for 50 years. We have actually caught what we call sweep spots and sweep places and sweep people. Like in Fort Collins, there's this place that's east of a Safeway. It's in the right-of-way, but they've been calling that private property and taking calls there for years because there was a little no loitering sign above it, and no one checked their maps. And so that's one of those things where we actually were working with them to try and get them to do their own investigation up there because they've been illegally taking people there for years in that same way. And they won't even open up that investigation. Right now, they won't touch it. I have to get them more information to them, but they won't touch it because of that idea of that huge pill to swallow of, oh my gosh, do we have to look backwards? And so I did the justice forum. I went and I looked up 460 South College. I looked up all the previous calls. I know they're not exactly marked the way they are, but a lot of them came up as trespassing. And let's put it this way. I trespassed allegedly into this right-of-way area one day, and I explained to them that it's a 100-foot right-of-way. I actually explained to them that this fence that went up, that I jumped over, is illegally put up. I actually got the city manager's office to send a takedown notice. It was a 2384 violation. The whole thing is really basic, that it's not private property. It's never been private property, and they literally, to sort of basically, they wanted to catch a homeless guy that night. There's a lot of other cases we have with them. So they know us, and we keep winning their cases. And so they're trying to find a way to stick us. And so they literally falsified a document, put 460 down on their warrantless arrest affidavit, had the judge, warrantless arrest judge, sign off on it for probable cause, and he left out everything about me saying it was a right-of-way, 460. I gave him an example of the takedown notice himself. He left that out of the warrantless affidavit too, and so we're very, very, very adept and we're very knowledgeable in terms of these places called sweep spots, and so that's why we're so concerned about this place, is because if security guards have been going around for years with just reasonable suspicion, just detaining, not arresting people instantly for trespassing or theft or anything like that. That's always been a illegal, but it slips in through the ratification of people around them. So the police around them ratified it, just like the dispatch ratified 460.
Like I said, you reported it to the police. Let them do what they have to do, and eventually they're going to let you know what their conclusion is. And if you're not happy, get a copy of whatever investigation they did, and just write a letter to the DA and include all that information you love.
Okay. Yep. I guess.
Either way, because I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what.
Yeah. But as long
I
as
would have to, because I don't know. I just don't know.
yeah, exactly. But as long as, and I think the only reason why, or if I would want to leave on this note, the fact that you understand that they could have been doing it wrong for 50 years is something that is good for you to be able to handle conceptually, because these people we've caught not being able to do that because of like an image problem and so forth. And so I just want to leave you with the idea that if it comes back up the pike, that you are willing to do an investigation if it really is something that they've been doing illegally for 50 years, because the way that this audio rolled out, it was a very normal situation for them. It was very typical. They do it all the time. But the only reason why we even went that route is because we thought he was a cop initially. We asked him, because we don't let ourselves be detained by security guards. We don't need to give up our IDs to security guards. The entire thing is actually a impersonation charge, and they won't touch that either.
And again, I'm not. I mean, I just can't answer your question. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's okay. The fact that you said 50 years.
Like I said, I'm not ready to say anything until, but let them do it. If you're not happy, take the next step.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, I just wanted to give you a heads up that if this is true, this is probably one of the largest scandals out there of dubbed police powers that aren't really police powers.
Send it in and okay.
So, but yeah, just heads up for you, because technically, if you guys don't do anything and I don't do anything, if this continues to go on, that could be more false imprisonments that you guys are all liable for if it gets caught later.
Well.
So.
Again, I don't know the answers because I don't know all the facts.
Yeah.
I'll be kidding you if I told you I did. Okay.
But yeah, we're just it's like in Fort Collins. We're just concerned because until that 460 spot gets fixed, security guards are still moving people along from there, and so it's just a whole bunch of illegal behavior that we're just tired of people hiding and pretending that it's not happening and so forth and so on. We were totally illegally detained by a security guard as if it was a cop, and that's something that security guards do not do at all.
All right.
So thanks for listening. I'll try and get as much information prepared to you as possible.
Yeah, let them complete their investigation and see what comes up, and then you can make a decision based on that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very curious actually to see if they can figure this out yet. So just
right,
I'm just a little concerned because I've been given my complaint's been buzzed before. So I you're the DA's office, so I just wanted to run that by you. We'll talk to you guys later next time.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.